So much to my own surprise, and I'm sure many others too, the second dev server just dropped at around 1100 GMT, which was, what, 4 a.m. my time? Yeah, it was pretty damn early at the time, and let's be honest here, this is something that I never really expected, and I'm sure many others did not as well. But let's point out some of the more, well, I guess obvious things. The first thing being is that Gaijin really only ever does 2 dev servers. They rarely ever do 3. It is possible, it has happened, but it's not something that they commonly do, which usually would indicate that the update will be dropping very, very soon. So my guess is, seeing that this is the second dev server, there is a possibility that we may be getting the update before the weekend. That's just a guess. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that there is also a good chance we'll be getting a third dev server this coming weekend. Not saying it's true, it's just a possibility. But I can well imagine the update will be dropping sometime this coming, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, from the time of this video's recording, of course. So I have no idea. But anyways, let's take a look at some of the smaller changes that did happen in the dev server. Now, I will not be going through every single tree and talking about every single vehicle. I'll only be talking about the ones that I have noticed and others in my own community have really noticed as well as kind of catch up on some things I missed in the previous video, seeing that I kind of messed up a little bit in terms of some of the values, seeing that I did have it in the arcade setting and not the RB setting. So oops, that's my fault, guys, okay? Can't blame me for this kind of stuff. So with that being said, the first thing I was told that did change was, I guess, the upper front plate of the Abrams got a bit of a buff. I mean, if we take a look at the armor right here, you'll see 38 millimeters. I don't know if it was less or if it was more at the time. I can't say for certain, okay? So don't quote me on that. Aside from that, the Dazzler didn't change. M1A1HC did not change, period. But what did change is the squadron vehicle, the YAH-64. Check this out. It now sits at battle rating 10.3, up from battle rating 10.0, I believe the last was. Nothing really changed about this. No countermeasures, no surface-to-air missiles, or excuse me, no air-to-air missiles. Sorry, guys, I did a stream this morning, and it was quite eventful, I'll say the least. So aside from that, outside of some normal sound changes happening with the M163, the vehicle, terrain changes in terms of how your vehicle reacts or acts around the terrain with sound, etc., there's really nothing else new with this. But another new thing is with the Germans. Well, not really new, per se. It's just that the Marder 1A3, which I'm kind of bastardizing that a little bit, to be honest, when I say it. It did get its DM63 AP rounds modeled in the game. All this will do is it'll do very good against tracks, barrels. It won't really do too well against the sides of vehicles or the rear of heavier tanks, but it will definitely get the job done in setting fire to most of your opponents you'll be facing, assuming you get close enough to get to their rear and engage them. But aside from that, same exact thing, nothing's really changed. Another thing that did change is with the Russians. Check this out. The 2S25 or the Sprut SD, it did get a reduction of battle rating and a reduction in reload speed, or an improvement, I think is a better way to put it, from 8.5 to 7.1 seconds, bringing it on par with the T72Bs, the T90, etc. So that's actually pretty good. Battle rating 9.3 now as opposed to 9.7, which means that this vehicle can to some extent be more effective, seeing that it's basically an Object 906 with a much bigger, better gun. Same speed, good stabilizer, no thermal sights, decent optics. 8 times, it's not the best, but it gets the job done. But good commander sights, which again, commander does control the weapon, which makes for a very interesting time. Aside from that, the MiG-27, which I've been told is the side grade to the MiG-23, not a direct upgrade. It's kind of my fault for saying that. Is still on the bomber side of things right here, as opposed to being next to the strike aircraft. There's been a lot of debate about it. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I will say that I don't really like it here myself. As you can see, I don't really have the lineup for it, so I was kind of hoping it would be around here, but it kind of is what it is. But next small little change up we have is with the British, which isn't an overly big thing. The Milan 2 missile did get a slight reduction in speed. So instead of going, I think, 200 meters a second, it now goes 185, which is not really noticeable, at least not in my opinion, but it's definitely something you have to keep an eye out for, seeing that the Warrior is a very, at least my opinion, very good 8.0 vehicle, so it has that going for it. Another thing too is the Jaguar, the British version at least, did get flares. So you got flares there, you got 60 of them. And another cool thing too is the Phantom, the FGR2, excuse me, I think the one also gets it too, don't quote me on that, did also get the Skyflash air-to-air missiles radar guided. So They're not as good as they were originally, but for the most part, they can definitely get the job done, at least from what I've noticed. I'm not an aviation guy, so don't get on my butt about it. Another thing, too, is with the Japanese. The Type 74C did lose its APFSDS round, which only gets, of course, HeatFS and standard APDS and HESH, sitting at battle rating 8.0, which I fully respect. If this thing had M735 at 8.0, that is a recipe for OP power creep disaster, at least in my opinion. The Type 89 also did get a change of ammunition. I think it's about 34 rounds to the first stage ammo stowage, which means that it's going to have the same replenishment as the Stritchford 9040Cs. That is also subject to change, I think. I forgot to mention the M16 does exist here too. Oops, sorry. And one more big important thing is the Type 87 RCV no longer has a stabilizer. It does get night vision devices, which is really good, but it does not get a thermal sight, which is kind of a given for battle rating 7.3, but it no longer gets a stabilizer, which doesn't really matter too much because this is a relatively stabilized as-is platform. I'm sure the guy can just shoulder the damn thing and it will work just fine, at least from what I've noticed. And that's honestly really the only change for the Japanese, except they're also getting one big thing, which is the F4EJ Kai Phantom II, which I believe, from what I have been told, has, I guess, the same radar system or something as the F-16. I can't really say anything much about that outside of the fact that it is now, I think, considered the most modern aircraft in the game in terms of actual usage or something. I don't know. I'm just going to go ahead and let my aviation experts out there kind of deal with this one, but I will tell you, this skin is absolutely gorgeous, and it also does get, I believe, those, which ones does it get right here? AIM 7 E2s. I don't know the differences between the E standards and the E2s, so again, I'll let you guys kind of figure that one out for me, if you could, down in the comment section below to help educate everyone here. So yeah, I kind of wish I was a pilot, or not a pilot, like an aviation guy. That would have been nice, right? It would have made things so much easier. But aside from that, Chinese, nothing really new. ZTC 99.3 got its armor kind of modeled, so again, take a DM53 to the face, just not in the breach area. The driver's port did get a little bit of a buff, so APFSDS will have a harder time going through the front up here, but not quite. You still have this really big lower glacis, and it is basically a ZTC 99. A T72 derivative, almost. Okay, sorry, purists. Nothing really new for the Italians. I didn't even take the time to really check them, to be honest, even during the live stream today. The French, unfortunately, don't get anything new. Flares for the Jaguar. Leclerc, still there. F8E, still there too. Cool. But one more crucial thing that, in my opinion, is going to make things a little bit more interesting for the Swedish. The J37, or the JA37C, or the Viggen, did get flares. Yeah, Gaijin, I guess, kind of caved into the whole outrage over on the forums and gave this bad boy flares, which is really good, and it did satisfy a ton of my Swedish friends. While at the same time, the J35A did get a reduction from battle rating 10.3, I think, or 10.0 to 9.7. And from what I've been told, this is nothing more but a stock Draken. Basically, just take this one right here, take away all the parts, you've got this vehicle with RB24s. No J's, just RB24s. Those who buy it, good luck. I'll say that at least. Oh, and I did forget to show the ERA kit, or the UBH kit, for the T80 BVM, which makes this vehicle look a hell of a lot prettier. Oh boy, this tank looks pretty. I'm sorry, guys, I have a thing for Russian tanks, if you didn't already know, and this just looks absolutely gorgeous. So, cool, it's got that going for it. But aside from that, that's really it from the changes. I don't really know what else is there. Some audio stuff did get thrown in, some BR changes here and there. Also, I think one more thing I didn't really mention too is a 5.7 aircraft called the TU-1, which I guess is the Tisma's little brother. So someone said to me, I think. Actually, go ahead and go right to it. So take that as you absolutely will. This thing looks interesting at 5.7. It does get torpedoes. It does get some 500s and 1,000 kilogram bombs, Fab 1000Ms. With good explosive mass for the most part. So really good at ground pounding, and it does get a 45mm gun, which does have the AP belt. 63mm at 5.7 is actually pretty damn good. And I look forward to seeing very experienced pilots use this thing appropriately, and maybe even myself. Who knows? But yeah, that's all I got for you, ladies and gentlemen. If I did miss anything, feel free to open up a discussion there in the comment section and let me know exactly what did I miss, what did I not, and I want to hear your own opinions on said matter. And if you want a little bit detailed overview, some games, etc., you're more than welcome to check out my Twitch channel. Link is down in the description below. Check out the VOD. That's where you'll see me play during the initial time. Unfortunately, I can't show clips to you because of the whole 24-hour exclusivity thing, so I do apologize for that. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. So I hope you guys did enjoy this little second dev one. I won't be doing a third one until, of course, either we get a third one, I guess, or in the next major update. Keep an eye out for a video releasing tonight as well. And I hope to see you guys not only in the next video or even those streams, but in War Thunder itself. Until next time.